Richland family, thank you for your support of our trip that we recently took to Turkey. We had a wonderful time. We experienced some wonderful things. One way that God blessed me through this trip was just being able to see the believers who are all the way overseas, yet we are united with through faith. That we share the same faith, we share the same Lord, and the same commitment to the Lord and His church. Even though we didn't know these people, even though they live all the way across the globe, to be able to join with them in faith was very encouraging and something that I was very blessed by. I was challenged on the trip with stepping out of my comfort zone. When you go into a foreign place with different expectations, different values, just a different culture altogether, you're going to face some discomfort. And I'm a person that likes comfort, especially air conditioning, and they don't necessarily have that in abundance over there. And so I had to get over my discomfort. I had to stop grumbling, and I had to realize that I was there for a purpose, that the Lord had me there for a purpose, and that through His strength, through His grace, you can endure anything. One of the great things we got to experience was an English tea time with the church that we met with there. They had an intentional time where non-English speakers got to come to practice their English language skills. They invited us as English speakers to come and have conversation with them with the purpose of sharing the gospel as well as practicing English. And so that was a great time, a great experience that I got to have, sharing the gospel with some guys, getting to know some people who I would never have known before. Another great experience was getting to visit some of the ancient church sites. A place called Iznik, which in the ancient world was called Nicaea, which is where the Nicene Creed comes from. We got to go to those places and see that, and be there and see those things. And not only do you get to experience ministry in that context, you also get to experience Christian history. If you feel like the Lord is calling you to one of those trips, I would greatly encourage you to go. There will be challenges, there will be hardship, it costs some money, but I believe the eternal rewards will be far greater when you are stretched in your faith, when you are depending on the Lord, and when you can come back with a great report to the rest of the church as to what you were able to do and what the Lord is able to do through you.
I would say that it was a huge blessing. You always give to these organizations, but to be able to see what it's like to actually see what they do, how they do it, how they are witnessing to a world that does not believe in the same religion that we do, it kind of opened my eyes up to a lot of things. That was a huge blessing. Just to be a part of that, to sit in on a church service, to see, to even be a part of their meeting was just a great blessing. I'm so thankful for all the men of God that we met during this time. I have never been out of the U.S. before, so just flying overseas, taking a 8-hour plane ride over a big body of water was definitely a challenge. But you know what? It also made me realize that I have to lean on the Lord. I cannot lean on my own understanding, my own thoughts. I love my family, I love my wife, I love my kids, but it also made me realize that where I love them, I can't find my contentment, I can't find my peace or anything through them. It's only through the Lord. So that's where I was challenged the most. I loved meeting the people. We met some really incredible men and women that serve our Lord overseas, and that was probably my favorite part. We had lots of good laughs. Also seeing, like, just to be in the same spot that, the Apostle Paul walked on, and where, First Peter, he mentions Cappadocia, just to be there was amazing. It really brought the Bible to life to be able to see. Didn't get to go into Hagia Sophia, but we got to see it, just all the monuments, just of what Constantinople was. I'm a history nerd, so it definitely fed my history craving for sure. I would encourage you, if the Lord is leading you to go. It is a once in a lifetime opportunity that you will not regret. And it is just, it literally is a whole other world. If you are feeling led to go and you want to go and you've prayed on it, please let us know. You will not regret this opportunity, I promise you.
Yeah, so God blessed and encouraged me in a lot of ways on the trip. It was a great trip. I think the way that stands out to me the most, I think, is the team that we had. It was just a blessing to have Nate and Jake and Pastor Scott along. We had a great time. It was fun. It was fun to be able to do ministry together, to walk alongside those guys, just to have fun with those guys, to joke around and enjoy each other's company. And all four of us are good friends, and so it was just that to me was the highlight of the trip, just getting to hang out with those guys and go with them on this trip. I was challenged on the trip in many ways, but I think the way that stands out to me most thinking back on it is just being away from home. I love my wife, I love my kids. I prefer to sleep in my own bed, and so I really was challenged just being away from home. I really have gotten to the point, and I'm only in my 40s, but I feel like I'm that age now. I really don't like to travel. I don't like going places, but then at the same time, it's worth it. And so it's not one of those things where, even though I knew that would be difficult, and I don't really enjoy these trips that much anymore, just as far as being gone, I know they're always worth it. And so it was challenging. It was difficult at times, but it was a blessing all the same. A lot of powerful things happened on the trip, I believe, or at least that we got to see and experience and at least get a glimpse of. But one thing that really jumps out at me was the local believer and pastor that we got to spend some time with one day that is working with our partners in Istanbul. And to hear his story, not just of how he became a believer, but even specifically, he was pastoring a Presbyterian church, and that church and this church that our partners are working with, a Baptist church, started kind of meeting together for some different things, and they basically, through a long process, decided to join together. But of course, there's an important difference there when it comes to baptism. Well, this pastor was convinced and really believed that he had believed his whole Christian life wrongly about baptism, and believed that even though he was baptized or sprinkled as an infant, that he needed to be baptized as a believer by immersion. And so just how that story happened and how he then proceeded to preach on baptism in a service and then himself be baptized. And then right after he was baptized, he baptized another local believer, a guy who had just come to faith. And so that's just powerful to hear things like that and how God works in incredible ways to not only draw people to himself, but open people's eyes to the truth of what the Bible clearly teaches on things as basic as baptism. I definitely want to encourage you to prayerfully consider going. The reality is that the need is there. The need is there for us to go, not just to Turkey, but to Colombia, to go to across the country, to go across the world to the nations for the sake of the gospel. And so even though it's difficult, I've never met someone that goes on one of these trips that looks back and says, man, I shouldn't have done that. I wish I wouldn't have went. There's no regret that comes from going, but so often I talk to people who regret not going. I don't want that to be you, so I hope that you'll prayerfully consider the next trip and when you might be called to go for the sake of the gospel.